Sometimes you have questions. I'll try to give you some answers best I can. Hi everyone, Don Giannetti from lighting-essentials.com and project52prosystem.com. I asked some people that I work with for some questions that I could answer for them in a series of videos, and this is the first one of those videos. So let's get started. Let me just quick about myself. I work with photographers. I've been a photographer for, well, close to 50 years. So I've been through film, I've been through digital. I had my own studio for a long time. A busy commercial photographer. I've owned my own ad agency, so I sat on both sides of the desk. So I've been sitting in front of an art director or a creative director with my portfolio, and I've been a creative director with another photographer sitting in front of me with their portfolio. So I bring a lot of experience and I think a little bit of common sense. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you how it really is. I don't have a dog in the hunt. I'm not shooting that much anymore. I shoot for myself. Very much like shooting for myself. I shot for other people for long enough to prove that I can do that. And I did it, and I had a very successful ad agency based on my work, and here we are. So now I want to answer some questions from some photographers who are asking them. Let's start, shall we? Number one, how to approach composition. What should someone look for before making the final exposure? Well, there's a lot of videos out there, and there's a lot of writing about composition. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it. It's hard to explain composition, I think, if you're not looking at a photograph. However, there are certain things that you can talk about in composition that's easy to understand. Number one, make sure that everything you see in the picture is what you want to see in the picture. If there's something that you have in your frame that you don't want to have in your frame, figure out how to get rid of it. Maybe you need to step in closer. Maybe you need to step back a little bit more. First thing to do is to check your corners. See, there's a tendency for photographers to look towards the tunnel vision. They look towards the middle of the frame and they forget the corners. It's the beautiful wedding shot with the garbage can in the back. It's the great landscape shot with the don't trespassing sign edging into the corner. Sure, we can fix it later in Photoshop, that magic thing that just fixes it and makes it so easy to be a photographer. But if you don't have to, then don't. If you want to learn your craft, then don't depend on Photoshop to do it for you. And if you're a young person and think I'm crazy, there's a button here on YouTube. You can just like go to the next video or go watch Skyrim. I like to think that there's a craft involved here. So when I'm thinking about composition, I'm thinking about placement of the subject. I'm thinking about depth of field. Depth of field is a big part of composition. Is it totally in sharp? Do you want everything in sharp? Or do you want something in focus against an out of focus background? We have the ability to do focus stacking now, which I think is really cool. I think it provides a new way of looking at images that are pretty exciting. And focus stacking becomes part of the composition. See, our eyes see and look for familiarity. And familiarity means the subject's up close, the background should be a little out of focus. With our most cameras, you can get some out of focus even at f16, but if it's very close, f16 is not going to, do it, right? It's going to be a little bit out of focus. F2, absolutely blow out the background and all that kind of stuff. Focus stacking is part of the composition. Now you have to be aware of color, and you have to be aware of dimension, and you have to be aware of light. Are we going to use light to keep the dimension going in the composition? All that's really important. And it's important that you decide that before you make the exposure. composition is one of those things that has to happen well before you're at picture taking time. Think about composition as you're working the camera. I think every photographer should start out with a tripod. You may not want to. I don't care. I think you should, because I think it makes you take advantage of the ability to really spend time looking at that composition. Back in the day, and you'll hear me say that occasionally, I'm not ashamed of being an old guy. Back in the day, we started on tripods. Back in the day, I shot 4x5 large format film, probably more than I shot the 35 millimeter film. Most of the commercial work I did was expected to be on 4x5, 8x10 even. And you learn that composition. It's funny, back in the day, we'd spend all that time looking behind that dark cloth for every little thing, and we'd loop it and loop it and loop it. And we had a negative this big. And then we get to 35 and we go, oh yeah, cool, we'll crop it later. It's like, well, we could crop like 50 of them out of this 8x10. So learn to see the composition as it's going to be presented. Is it centered? Is it left? Is it right? Is the gesture in the picture coming into the picture or out of the picture? Some folks will tell you that you should never gesture out of the picture. Those people are like, okay, whatever. Yeah, if it looks cool, do it, okay? There are no rules. There are no rules. Everybody we admire in photography are the people who are breaking rules. Rules are there to keep people mediocre in power, or keep mediocre people in power, however you want to say it. It keeps mediocrity there. Mediocrity isn't important. It's just there. Posing guidance. What should a photographer know about posing? Well, basic things. You can buy a book on posing. You know, those books that have a bunch of people posing in them. You could do that. If you really wanted to talk about mediocrity. There's a whole book of mediocre. Here's a bunch of crap poses that we use for seniors. Yeah, good. Try that sometime. I would say study the masters of people who pose people, who work with people who pose. First place to start is a fashion magazine. Get a couple of issues of W and look through there. Look at the hands. What are the hands doing? If you're going to be screwed up by posing, the hands are going to screw you up more than the eyes. Trust me. Hands. And then, of course, feet. You know, pigeon-toed, not cute, unless it's part of the shtick. Watch people. The way I wanted to get my subjects to pose, my fashion models, was I would go and spend time just watching people. What do they normally do? I'd like to start them out in a single pose, maybe hand here, shoulder there, what have you, stand it, and then get them to move from that pose to another pose, and I shoot in between. I don't want my models to stop moving. Have you seen this before? Have you ever experienced this before? You've got the camera up to your eye, you've got the woman, the model moves and then she freezes. She's like, And that's your cue. You take the picture, click, and then she goes over here, click, and she comes down here, click, and she moves over here, click. What, are you kidding me? That's not a modeling session. That's a like, I'm looking here, take a picture of me session. It's just dumb. Are you in control, or is the model in control? Believe me, the model wants you to be in control. They want that because you're the one looking through the camera. So I say, start here and work your way over here. Naturally, how would you go from here to there? And I'm going to take pictures without a beat to it. It's not going to be click, pose, click, pose, click, pose, click, pose. That's just stupid. When you allow the model to control the flow of the pictures, you're missing out on posing. Let them move. And your clicks should sound more like this. Click, 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 click. Then you're catching those little nuances, and you're not just standing there and posing them. Now this varies from situation to situation. If you're shooting on 4x5, obviously that's different. If you're shooting on medium format, it's somewhere in the middle. If you're shooting digitally versus film, whatever. But for me, posing was always from the model out. In other words, this is the scenario, and I want to bring this out. And I watch for feet. I don't want anything coming towards me like elbows. Look at that. You see models doing this? Yeah, really? This is cool? You know, to the side, up there. I don't like hands on faces because usually girls don't know what to do with their hands on the face, or guys are even worse. Hands on the face, it's just not interesting to me. But every once in a while you see a great shot with a hand on the face, and that's cool. Be the judge of it. Don't over pose them. Don't force them into some exotic motion or something unless you have to. Because if they look uncomfortable in that position, they're going to be uncomfortable on the camera. They're going to be an image of an uncomfortable person. Let them relax and then just move slowly through what you need to do. I love to have my models moving. I love to have models jumping. I love to have them running. I love to have them leaping. The more dance training models would have, that'd be great. Now, if you're dealing with non-models, you're going to have to deal with a different situation. And in that, it's always great to say, okay, let's start here. Now that's really great. Now bring your chin down. Keep coming. That's great. And you're going click, 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 click. And then they get a little nervous. And so keep coming. Don't lower your shoulder. Yeah, all right, good. You're just working with them. If you're quiet while you're shooting with them, you're missing the boat. You should be constantly telling them what looks good and never telling them what looks bad. Never say to a model, oh, don't do that. It makes you look like a scorpion or something. Because from that point on, all that person is going to think of is, I don't want to look bad. What did I do? I don't know why. I don't want to look bad. And you've lost that momentum. You've just lost it. All right, number 3, what makes a great portfolio? Well, really good shots. Out on a limb here. What makes a good portfolio is to show me, the art director, creative director. I was a creative director for 10 years for my own agency. Creative director, show me that you can do the job that I want you to do. Show me that you're professional. So show me that you can solve problems. Don't show me a bunch of pretty pictures. Don't give a shit. A lot of people got a lot of pretty pictures. Can you deal with a client on set? Can you deal with problems in the weather? Can you deal with problems with the talent? Can you make it happen? Because that's what I need you to do. I need to be warm and fuzzy about you making it happen. Believe me, there's a lot of photographers out there that can take a picture of the spaghetti I want you to shoot. You understand? A lot of them. A ton of them. They can make good spaghetti pictures. Can they make them on demand? I don't know. Your portfolio has to tell me that you can do that. Now, a lot of people think that your portfolio is what's going to make me hire you. Your portfolio is what's going to make me consider hiring you. I may hire you because of your portfolio. It's a consideration that will move you to the top of the line, but everything else in that portfolio, are they images in the genre? Are they images that make sense? Does it look to me like you have an idea what's going on? If you're a fashion photographer and you sit down and you show me a bunch of fitness girls who are 5'2", you're in trouble. You know, models aren't 5'2". Fitness girls are 5'2". That's fine. But if you think you're going to put fashion on a 5'2" model and pass it off as fashion to me, you're wrong. It's not going to happen. If you think you're going to pass off somebody else's food shots to me, you're wrong. You know, if you're out, you know, shooting stuff at a restaurant, you know, you're shooting, you know, you walk in and I order my burger and then you take it and take a picture of that burger. Well, that don't work for me. Show me that you understand what I need from you. And please, don't show me what you think I want to see. Don't show me that, because you're wrong. In every single situation, you're wrong. If you think that's what I want to see, you don't know me. And because you don't know me, why don't you show me what you want to do? Why don't you show me what you are capable of doing? Show me your creativity, show me your technical work, show me that you can solve problems, and above all, show me that you can be focused and create images along the lines of a professional photographer. I may be a food client. That doesn't necessarily mean I want to see a bunch of food. I work with food all day. If you're going to show me food, you better show me a good one. Okay? The importance of contracts. Well, oh, I'm sorry. There's a part 2 to that question. How to promote. Well, that's, I mean, entire books are written on how to promote your work. I'll give it to you in a nutshell. Make really, really good pictures and show them to every possible person you could show them to. Everybody. Here's an idea. Go to a restaurant with your portfolio and show them pictures until they go, thanks, we don't, can you leave now? Okay, go to the next restaurant, show them your pictures. If you think that's crazy, you don't understand promotion. It's not crazy, it's being remembered. Just show people your work. Art directors, creative directors, designers, magazine editors, show people your work. If you make great work and it sits in your portfolio or on your website, and you just, you know, you're sure your website's going to do it for you because you took a class for $40 on how to get a lot of Instagram folks to come over and see your Instagram pictures. And, well, you know, that $40 isn't going to be wasted because Instagram's going to make you, I mean, just a shit ton of money. I mean, everybody's going to look, oh, look at that Instagram. Nobody cares about your Instagram. What a silly, silly place. The importance of contracts. Well, they're not important. They're vitally important. The contract law in the United States, contract law trumps everything. If it's in the contract, it's good as gold if they sign it. It's in the contract. You can make contractual agreements with someone giving your rights away on a contract. Contracts are everything. If you want it to be followed, if you need it to be done, put it in a contract. So let me give you a couple of examples of people whining about stuff should have been in their contract. This guy, I took some pictures of this guy and he used them on his profile and didn't give me credit. What do I do? Question: was it in the contract that he had to give you credit? No. You're done. You're done. All right. Bye-bye. I took pictures for this company and they haven't paid me yet. Have they used the pictures? Yeah. Did you have it in the contract that if they use the pictures without paying you that they would owe you double? No. See ya. I did pictures for this guy and he put them in Photoshop and wrecked them. And now my pictures are all over the internet and with my name on them, and this guy just totally screwed them up. Did you have it in the contract that they couldn't mess with your images? No. Well, all right. Good luck with that. If you did have it in the contract, all that'd be covered. You wouldn't worry about somebody stealing your picture, quote, stealing your picture and using it if it's in the contract. Well, Don, it was just a shot for a friend. Okay. It's just a small contract then, right? Put it on your phone. You got the little applications on your phone. You can put it on there. They can sign away. Here's the contract which says you can't put it on Facebook. You can't put it in Photoshop and change it. And if you do, you owe me this much more money. You know, I'm kind of I'm a capitalist on that. So if they want to take my image and use it, even if it's not a picture I'm real crazy about, they want to pay me an extra $5,000, I'll suffer through that, having that picture out there. But generally, I don't do that. I love the one where they go, I did pictures, and now they want to see all the pictures, and I don't want to show them all the pictures. Don't show them all the pictures. It was in your contract that they only got 10, right? No. Well, show them all the pictures then, or they're gonna make your life miserable. Like, come on, put it in the contract. Think about what you want that business relationship to be, and put it in the contract. What's best practices? Making sure everything that you need is in the contract. That's what best practices are. You can put in your contract that if they're late paying you, they owe you interest. Well, and sometimes you can collect that, and sometimes they'll tell you to pound sand. But you can put it in the contract. Did you know if you work for a big corporation, you put it in your contract that if they pay you within 15 days, they can take a 1% discount? That many corporations have that as an absolute. Their accounting is that's an absolute. If the vendor says we can take a percentage off for early payment, then you have to do it. You can slip that bad boy in there, put a little capitalize, pay it before 15 days, take 1% off the total, and you get your money in 15 days because it's in your contract. All right? Number 5, how to craft your personal brand as a photographer given your specific strengths and weaknesses. Well, you better have good strengths. Everybody has weaknesses. You want to downplay the weaknesses and upplay the strengths. How to craft your brand? I think your brand as a photographer is everything from your portfolio, from how you use your portfolio, from what you have as a portfolio. And if your portfolio only exists online, you're crazy. You need an analog picture portfolio for so many reasons. So many reasons. And I know a lot of people go, yeah, Don, yeah, people aren't using real portfolios anymore. And I go, yeah, I know, and you're not a real photographer, or you would know better. You would know better. Many photographers using analog portfolios. And sometimes you get called for an analog portfolio and they want to see it next week. Is that a good time to make one? I'm going to go with no. Maybe it would have been nice to already have one. Your brand is your portfolio. It is your logo. It is your online presence. But more than that, it's you. Your brand is, do you return phone calls? Do you get bids out on time? Do you show up for the job? Now, does that sound strange? Do you show up for the job? Do you know how many photographers don't show up for the gig? Yeah. Do you know how many photographers don't return phone calls? How many photographers take 3 days to get back an email? That's your brand. Logo. I got to tell you, I'm a nut for what's the word? Being pragmatic. I'm a nut for it. If you're spending $3,000 on a logo and you're not making $200,000 a year, you're foolish. Just foolish. Go up to Fiverr and get a logo for $100. And yeah, you can spend $5, but you can also get a better designer and get a logo for $100. You're better off doing that. Nobody cares. No one's going to look at your and go, man, I love your portfolio, dude. This is good stuff. We got a job that you would just fit in perfectly for that. And I just looked at your logo and the kerning between the L and the E is a little off. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We can't use you. You'll have to go away and die in oblivion. That's not how it works. Get a logo. Just don't get one of those little guys under the dark cloth, the little clip art things. Please don't do that. But you can get a great logo for $100. Then designers will hate me for it, but I don't care. It's true. Just get your stuff together. What you wear is important. What you say is important. And all of the business practices. Do your invoices look professional? Do your RFPs look professional? Do you know what a lookbook is? Can you include a lookbook or a set of notes, of image notes? Anything that you can do to look more professional is your brand. So there you go. And that's just 5 questions, and I'm way over time. So thanks, everybody. If you like what I'm doing and attempting to do, whatever. I don't do a lot of cutting on my stuff. I know that I sometimes stumble over words. I don't give a shit. Whatever. If that bothers you, there's lots of other channels. And I'm really serious. Please don't send me things like, you should have edited it better. Yeah, I don't have time for that. If I'm going to put anything out, I have to put it out in the time that works for me. And with Lighting Essentials going on, Project 52, a lot of stuff, I'm really, really busy. A lot of photography going on out there, and a lot of great people working in the business. And I don't know where I'm going with that. Listen, if you like what I'm doing, let me know. I don't do a lot of editing on this stuff, so there's times when I, stumble over words and stuff. I don't care. If that bothers you, I'm sorry. Lots of other YouTube channels don't send me emails telling me I should edit tighter. I'm not going to do it. I just want to let people know. Now, this is coming from someone who has been in the business. My whole life has been as a creative, okay? I'm not just an internet star, even though I'm good looking enough to be. No. My wife says I have a great face for radio, so maybe podcasting is in my future. I don't know. Listen, if you enjoy it, hit the like button, and we'll see you next time. I've got another 30 or 40 questions to go through. I just tend to go on a little too long. See you next time.